All right, guys, I'm so happy to be here with you. Happy Thursday. What a glorious day. It's beautiful here in San
All
Diego.
right.
Ooh.
I'm going to spotlight my video.
Whoa.
Okay.
We're going to close that out. All right. Yeah. There we go. Okay, that was a lot of me talking. So, all right, guys, when you come on, just say, just get in the chat box over there. You'll see that at the bottom where you can just go and type in what brought you here, how you're doing, and say where you're from. I'm really excited to be here with you. Last week we did the Coachathon, and it was great. And do we have, let me see who's here. Okay, awesome. So what we're going to be doing, I am Melissa Catherine, for any of you that don't know, but I assume you do because you're all here in this group. So we are doing live Coachathon last week. This is what we did. I've received a ton of questions, always asking me for guidance on a multitude of things. So I thought, what better way than to support you than to actually help you by answering your questions live so that you can all benefit from each other. Really, I mean, that's what community is all about, and that's something that the women in our Weight Loss for Life program get, and that's something that my private clients have as well. So it's about having that support, and it's about really being an advocate and asking those questions and having the opportunity to have spot coaching with me. So that's what this is for today. I had many women email in questions that said they might not be able to make it live due to their work schedules and life schedules. So I have those, and I also have with us, I had put out that okay. Oh, Jana, I'll let you guys figure that out, Heather. You know, and I've also had people, I put it out about seeing, you know, if anybody wanted the opportunity to get live coaching from me. Last week, you saw what that really looked like. And Kimberly and I probably could have kept going in deeper into that work. And she's actually continuing on in our program. So what I want to tell you is please ask me any questions. A few that I just wanted to start off with here today. So I'm Melissa Catherine. I am a nutritionist. I have a background in fitness. I'm an ex-fitness competitor and trainer. I also specialize in emotional eating and disordered eating and the psychology of eating and understanding why we do what we do, especially when it's not what we want to be doing when it comes to food. I am known for helping women to be free from dieting, truly to be done with dieting, to release the weight effortlessly and naturally, and to come back to the truth of who they were before they thought they were less than due to a number on the scale. So bridging that gap and really repairing your relationship with yourself, your relationship with food, so that you can thrive in life in a body that you love. I also am a hypnotherapist and body intuitive, and I tie all of this in to the programs that I teach, which are all holistic, meaning that we don't just address food or fitness. We look at your whole life as a pie to see what's out of balance, because what I know for sure without a doubt is that it's never about the weight, and it's never just about food. If it was, the dieting industry would not be $1 billion industry, and there wouldn't be so many different diets out there, and diets truly are band-aids. They are not solutions. And what I teach is a lasting weight loss solution and true transformation for lasting and real change. So that's what we're about here today. Again, anybody that has any questions, when you come on, all attendees, please say who you are, what brought you here, and what you're interested in and looking for. What questions do you have today? Also, so just put those in the chat box. I'm seeing that there's a bunch of attendees, but I don't see any questions in the chat, so I'm not sure if you're in the Facebook group. So I wanted to start off because I got a question from Sarah. Hold on one second. I just got off a plane. I saw J-Lo in Las Vegas last night, and I normally drink like so much water, so I have like all this water from the plane that I brought on with me. My friend thought I was nuts. She was like, how many bottles are you going to buy? And I was like, I like to drink at least 2 liters before each plane trip. I might be drinking a lot of water through this live Coachathon. So Jana, let me know whenever you're ready. Right now, I'm just going to answer Sarah's question. So what Sarah sent me a message about was, I really, really want to be done with dieting. And I love this question. I actually put it in our weekly blog this week. And she just said, I really want to be done with dieting. And it's hard because I know that that's what I'm supposed to do. Like, I know that that's what I feel called to do, that I know dieting isn't working for me anymore. How do you stick with that when there are so many other tempting situations out there, like 30-day challenges, like intermittent fasting, like the Whole30, like all of these other things that are really just other forms of diets? And I understand, and I totally get it, because when we've been in the dieting space for a long time, we feel like we've been on a diet forever, so we just want the weight off like yesterday. And even though you can feel pulled and you know better, right? There's that intuitive voice. So Sarah, what I really want to tell you, and anybody else that's resonating with that, that's going, yes, like I know that it's not the right thing for me to do. However, I really feel tempted because I just want this weight off and I want to see results. It's very easy to go into, let me just get the weight off and then I'll fix what else is going on for me. What I really want to tell you, and what I see all the time, which is why our Weight Loss for Life program is a 9-month program, is that you can get the weight off. It's not hard to lose weight. You can get the weight off. Do you know how easy it is to put the weight back on? Just think about how long it's taken you to get weight off before, right? And how easy it is to put it back on. Now, I'm sitting here saying weight loss really isn't challenging. It's really not. When you stay consistent and committed, it's really not hard. We were just going through that in the Weight Loss for Life group. Like, if you're really eating when you're hungry and you stopping when you're full, and since those women are now on that journey, right, they're seeing like, wow, I don't need as much food as I thought I did. And I'm not nearly as hungry as I think I am. And I don't need the portions that I do. And I just said to them last night on our call, just imagine now that you're really aware of this, if you really only ate when you were hungry and stopped when you were full, do you see that you would be consuming half the amount of calories, half the amount of food? That you wouldn't, this isn't even about working out at this stage. The weight would just come off you because you would naturally be eating exactly what your body needs to have energy. But that's it, right? So your body wants you to be at your ideal weight. So how does this tie in with getting out of tempting situations? I'm going to tell you. When you are going through this process and you say, I know I want to be done with dieting, which you're all in the Done with Dieting group. And those of you that aren't in the Done with Dieting group are my clients, and those that are maybe not in the Facebook group, but you follow me online, you're still resonating with what I'm saying. So there's a piece of you that's going, yeah, dieting doesn't work. I need to get away from it, but I still find myself doing it. Can you help me get out of it, right? So it's really tempting, and mentally you're exhausted. You feel like you've been dieting forever and a day. You wanted the weight off yesterday. However, intuitively, you know that dieting isn't going to work for you long term. So this notion of let me just get the weight off and then I'll fix whatever else is going on. No, you won't. So you think that getting the weight off is what's going to make you feel better and happier and more confident in all these things. And I will be the first person to tell you it's not. It might help you a little bit, but the minute life rears its head, like the next day, you will resort back to your old eating habits because you haven't done the internal work. You haven't gotten to the root of anything. So your body will just go right back to where it was. And you will actually put on the weight more quickly and mess with your metabolism, right? So in order to actually lose the weight and keep it off, your belief system has to be one of a fit, trim, healthy person that trusts themselves, trusts their eating, and doesn't feel tied to food, that there's no emotional attachment to food. Then when you take the weight off, you can keep it off. But until you take ownership of that identity and get cemented in that belief system, you will not be able to sustain the weight loss. It won't happen. So yes, I'm an advocate for if there's something that inspires you, like we're doing Weight Loss for Life, we have a challenge coming up, right? We do different challenges to keep the women inspired, but also to have them in a container where they are fully supported and still under the guise of being done with dieting. So they're supported by the coach, they're supported by me. They have a Weight Loss for Life coach that works with them in the program. They have me, they have each other, right? So then you're in that community. It's really challenging to want to be done with dieting and be surrounded by women that aren't done with dieting, because all they do is obsess about food and talk about food and count their calories and beat themselves up and then talk about how fat they are. It's all they do. And the more that you are in a space of being done with dieting, you're going to feel really sensitive to it. And you're going to notice it and be like, oh my God, these women, like what I find with my clients in Weight Loss for Life from last year. And I mean, we just started this year. So if you guys want in, by the way, you've got like 2 weeks left to apply. I had to put it on hold because me and my team were doing some internal shifting with some things. But I put on hold going through applications, but I'm still accepting applications. And we only have 2 weeks if you want to apply. And then the doors are closing for another year. So if you want that, we will put a link. Heather, if you could put a link just right in that you can apply and talk to me if it's the right fit, and we can take it to the next steps. So what I wanted to tell you is what you will see when you're in this process, and Sarah, I really want you to take this on, is you'll start to notice how uncomfortable it is and how often women talk about food and obsess. And when you stop being one of them, you realize how much time and energy and how negative, and it's almost like life sucking, right? It's really challenging. So I just want you to know that although it's tempting, stay the course, be consistent, stay committed. The changes will come. You do not need to go all in with some 30-day X, Y, and Z in order to get results. You want a sustained, attainable goal that you can achieve and then be done with, right? You don't want to have to keep yo-yoing. And if you step and accept another fad diet, it will not work. I was just talking about this with one of my girlfriends that we were in Vegas, and she's like, yeah, so I'm trying to do intermittent fasting now. And I was like, well, does it work for your body? And she's like, well, and then I was finding, that I'm eating a lot in between these hours. And I have another client that was doing intermittent fasting, but then she was eating most of her calories at night. So she actually really didn't need a lot of food during the day. But then at from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, she was eating and was like, I'm gaining weight. And I was like, yeah, did you eat all your calories at night? And you're not fueling yourself. You're actually training your metabolism to do something that's not going to help you lose weight. So you guys really want to think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. Do you want a lasting weight loss solution, or do you want a quick fix? Because the quick fix is going to be that. It's going to fix you quick, and then you're going to go right back to where you were. It's a Band-Aid, and Band-Aids fall off, right? That's the way that it is. So, okay, what I want to do now is, so Sarah, I hope that was really helpful. Stay tied to why you're here. The next piece that I will say to this is intuitively, right? You guys, you're all being guided, okay? We all have guides. And so those of you that work with me know that, I am an intuitive and an empath. And I talk to my guides and work with my clients, spirit guides as well, and angels, and help them to cultivate that as well. What I want to tell you is you all have guides. And so I'm not pushing religious preference on anybody. Let's just say universe, source power. You've got energy, entities, things in the sphere of being, right? Called Earth, called your world, your vortex, right? We all have a vortex around us. We have our own aura, our own orb, right? And our aura is comprised of our chakra system, again, based off of energies and chakras in the body. So we have a lot of things that are working for us. and you are being guided. And when you actually connect in and start to befriend your body, which is what I do with our women in our programs, it's about connection back. You are being guided how to eat. There is always a voice inside you that's saying, don't eat that. That's going to feel like crap. You're going to be sorry, or get up, just get up. You'll feel so proud if you get up and get out of bed, or if you do this, or if you do that. You're ignoring it, or you're not tuning in and actually stopping to hear it. So when your body's on autopilot, you have completely shut off your divine connection. You've completely turned your back on universal guidance, source, energy, God, whatever you want to reference that as. So I really, really, really want you to hear that in order to connect, to be guided, to really feel out of isolation and in connection, you have to stop and pause in those moments and allow that voice, and then say to yourself, am I going to listen to my inner truth, or am I going to keep bullying myself, punishing myself, and taking actions that aren't serving me? Because that's really what's happening. And when you feel like you're on autopilot, it's because you're completely disassociated from a greater life force that's there supporting you, and from your internal truth. Because internally, the piece that loves you doesn't want any more food. It just wants you to acknowledge it and ask it what it needs. And it's going to say, I need a hug today. Right? Like I told my women last night, I was like, give yourself a big old hug, right? I give myself hugs all the time. I mean, there are studies that we need 12 hugs a day to be happy, to really feel loved and thrive. 12 hugs. How many people get 12 hugs? I try to hug people all the time. Like people try to shake my hand and I'm like, I'm a hugger. It's really selfish because I really just want to get hugs in. And I encourage you all to do that. It's a little connection, a little gift. So I just want you to know that, Sarah. I hope that was helpful. I am going to bring in we have a little guest, this beautiful little lady that reached out and said that she would love some spot coaching, which is one of my fortes, one of my things I love to do. So I'm going to unmute you now, Jana. And I'm going to make you a co-host. Jana, are you there?
I am.
Hi, girl.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. It's so nice to meet you.
You too. Hugs.
So I know your video isn't working, right?
Correct.
Okay. So what I want to do, and I know you were on last week, what I really want to just start with is, first off, I love connecting. I love that you reached out. So I want to know what brought you to today's call. What is it that is going on for you that you're needing support with?
For me, because for years, basically my entire life, I have fought weight. And I was actually, my family reminds me of that a doctor put me on a diet when I was 9 months old. So it's been since I was a baby, really. And then it was it's always you're big boned so I think my belief system is that. So I've done bazillions of different yo-yos up and down. And just like you said, I'll lose and then I'll gain. And then I beat myself up for the failure and going back and forth.
Okay. So what is it that you're wanting support with? Why did you reach out and say, Melissa, I want this opportunity to get coached by you? What is it that you're really wanting?
I want to be done. I want to find out why, what the seed that I'm watering, I don't want to water, and I need to figure out how to not water that. Okay.
So, I'm kind of reading between the lines here, so I'm going to tell you what I'm hearing.
Okay.
Tell me if this is correct, so that we can. I want to make sure we're on the same page. So what I'm really hearing is, Melissa, I signed up for this call today because my whole life I've been struggling with my weight, and my family oh so lovingly loves to remind me that I was put on a diet when I was 9, and since then I don't remember a time when I ever really felt good in my body. And I want to be done with this process, but I don't know how because I keep living into the negative belief system that's brought me here.
Absolutely.
Is that right? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So, so can you tell me what is your current weight?
Honestly, I really don't know, but I'm guessing. I don't do the scale
I love
because
that. I'm happy, girl.
um,
I'm happy. If you had to guesstimate, like how much weight would you like to lose?
I would like to lose 50 pounds.
Okay. And what's your current height and age?
I am 5'7" and I'm 48. Sorry, I had to think about that.
That's all right. I never know my age. And that's what I get told I look like too. Okay, so 48, 50 pounds. When was the last time that you weighed 50 pounds less, or have you been at that weight?
Yes. Probably probably 2 years ago when I did a fad diet.
Okay, and how long were you able to stay at that weight?
Probably 6 or 7 months before I started, probably 6 months before I started slowly gaining, and then boom.
Yeah, that's how it happens. And so, did you end up gaining more than you lost, or about the same?
No, I gained probably about the same, maybe a little bit less.
Okay.
But
And since then, before that, were you at this weight at another time? Do you remember a time in your life when you felt good in your body?
no, and after last week's call, I've been trying to recall that. Like, has there been a time that I was super confident and felt like good? And honestly, I don't ever recall feeling that way.
Okay. Yeah.
I
So,
mean, I've been sort of comfortable, but I don't think I've ever been like, damn, I look good.
okay. So in the past 48 years, would you say, how many of them would you say you've spent dieting?
Um, probably 30.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, so, okay. So you've spent about 30 years. So I would assume that most of that was more around like 18 and 20 that you really started dieting.
Nope, I think it was later than that. I mean, I was always aware and felt like I was needed to be careful of what I ate, and but I think it was probably more in my late 20s is when it really started.
Okay. And so what is your first memory of not liking what you saw in the mirror? Really thinking like, I don't really like my body.
I think that's probably how I've always felt.
Well, there's a time when you didn't, right? Like you weren't born thinking there's something wrong with you, right?
Right.
But none of us were. So there's like, for me, it was age 10, right? And I just remember looking at myself and staring at my thighs. And I wrote, and I actually know my age because it was in my diary. And I wrote, I'm 10 years old. I want to lose 10 pounds, blah, blah, blah. Do you have
Wow.
a memory where you kind of remember just going like, I don't feel good or about an age?
No, I mean, I remember I don't know an age, but I do remember being in elementary school and thinking I was bigger than everybody and kind of being ashamed.
Yeah. Okay. And so, what was food like in your household growing up?
Um, well, we always had sweets.
Yeah.
So after dinner, you always had a sweet. You always had dessert. Um, but I mean, I don't really, it was, we ate dinner every night. We had meals. I don't remember snacking a whole lot. But
Was your mother around food and your father? Did anybody else have any?
my mom is the Monday. I'll start Monday.
Okay. So you saw your mom dieting a lot growing up.
Correct.
And did she have you on diets with her?
No, I don't recall that anyway.
Okay. And did she ever comment on your food? And I'm not pinning anything on your mom. I just want to understand family dynamics.
No, I know. I don't recall that.
Okay. Okay, good. So when you were in your 20s, you said that it really started then. What was going on for you in your life at that time?
I was probably trying to figure out who I was and what I wanted to do. I had moved away from home, like away another 2 hours away from everybody. And I probably was meeting a lot of new people.
Mhm.
So I was maybe more hyper aware of it. Starting a new job, those kind of things.
Okay, so here there was just a lot of change.
Yes.
Okay. So, in what ways do you find that now you sabotage yourself around food and your weight loss? And when I say sabotage, I mean, in what ways do you find that you are getting in the way of you losing weight and doing things that are not helping you, but actually hurting you?
It's basically what you just said of being on autopilot and being, not conscious and not taking the time to actually be present, but just being busy and eating on the run, not preparing things. And then I'll eat things that I know are not great for me. Then I'll beat myself up, or I'll, buy a bag of chips and I'll eat almost the whole bag and then beat myself up because I did that.
Okay. Do you binge often or no?
I do occasionally, yes.
Okay. And when did that start for you?
I've probably always done that.
Okay. So, well, you didn't always. So generally, like the way it works, guys. So yeah, I want you to get Jana a thing that, and we'll go into this more, but the generalization. So everybody watching this, I just want you to really understand that getting clear is really helpful to understand why different patterns have been created for yourself with food. So we
Right.
didn't always just do things. Binging usually comes about after we've been dieting for a while, after we've disassociated enough that the dieting no longer is working and we're not able to stick to it and get the results that we once got. So our minds start wanting to go to more severe patterns because food, your relationships. So generally, starving oneself, binging, it comes down to such a need of control. So we don't usually just start off binging.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I want you to really like think about that because again, that plays into the entire thing that we are doing here is looking at the root because you said when you got on, I said, what is it you want? You're like, I don't want to keep, in your words, watering a seed that isn't helpful. But in order to stop watering that seed, you need to understand why you started doing that to begin with.
Right.
So, when you were put on a diet at 9 months old, how was your weight regarded in your family?
Well, I was always, the quote unquote big baby. And then from there on, it was, she's big boned, or I think that was their loving way of saying, she's chunky, or whatever word you want to use.
Yeah.
So if I really had to think about that, then I think you're absolutely right. When I get clear about the binging is that you're right. It probably was when I started dieting and then limiting myself. And then instead of limiting I'd limit myself for so long, and then I would emotionally have a bad day or whatever, and then I would binge. So that makes total sense.
Yeah, so guys, and I talked about this in my book, Eat Right for Your Archetype, right? There's 4 different levels of self-sabotage, 4 different forms, you could say, and you all have different pieces of them. But one of them is the perfectionist, and another one's the rebel, the avoider, and the nurturer, right? These are the 4. Well, the rebel is you will most likely really identify with, Jana, because it's where we restrict, we rebel. You will, because first off, no one wants to feel like they have to do something or they can't have something, especially when you're telling yourself that.
Absolutely.
Okay. This is why, like in my programs, I always say, guys, nothing is off limits. And, you know, it's about you starting to go, I'm choosing this, right?
Right.
I'm choosing to eat this way. So when my clients just start cleaning up their diet on their own because they're choosing it. I'm not saying a word. And then they're like, oh, and I decided coffee isn't working for me anymore. And I've decided this, like, I'm not saying coffee's bad. I'm just using examples. But, you know, and they just start doing this, but it works because of that. So, Jana, what I want to tell you is, okay, so let's keep going here. So you want to be done with dieting. Why do you want to be done? There's got to be more to it.
Well, I want to be done, number one, because it doesn't work.
Right. Result that you really want. How do you want to?
I want to be healthy and happy.
Yeah. What does that mean, though, guys? So I was doing this with my clients in our Weight Loss for Life group last night. We were really getting clear on our why. Why do you want this? Right? Like it's like happy and healthy, but why? What will that do for you in your life?
I think it will free up so much energy, so much time, so much of everything. I think it would be very freeing to not have to think about what I'm supposed to eat or not supposed to eat, or, you know, which fad am I doing this week? So, you know, is it going to work? And then it doesn't work. And then I think it's like, I feel like sometimes I'm on a hamster wheel and I jump off for a minute and then I jump back on.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So you want to be done though. And I want you to, what will happen in your life? Would it mean more love? Would it mean you taking trips?
I think it would mean that I would actually love myself, which if I love myself, then I have more to give.
Yes.
And I think that I would focus more on my purpose of why I'm here instead of, I think that I would focus more on why I'm here on this, you know, in this body. And if I loved myself, then I wouldn't constantly be worrying about what I looked like or what I needed to eat. Or does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, when you
I don't know if I'm really answering your question or not, but.
No, so what I want to help you with, right? That's my job here today, is
right.
Get you grounded in something to move you forward, right? I always say I never want to spend time with somebody and have them not impacted in a more positive way, especially if I have the opportunity to support them in a coaching capacity. So what I want to tell you, love, is I want you to get tied to what will this mean for me? So yes, loving you is great. But is loving you going to get your butt out of bed in the morning, and is love going to wake you up out of an autopilot situation? Right. So loving you would be a result, but I want you to get tied to, it would be about me living a happier life, like, and develop that. What is happy and healthy look like for you? You don't have to do this call, but I want you to get clear for that for yourself.
Got you. Yep.
So does that mean, you know, would you have a deeper connection with your partner? Does this mean that you would start that dream job that you've always wanted to go for, or even figure out what it is? It's something where you're just going to start going, like, first off, loving you is the pinnacle, right? Because right now that's clearly not happening when we're choosing food over ourselves, right? We're choosing our love for food. We're choosing a substance over love for this being, right?
Correct.
It just feels like crap. Like I remember it like yesterday for myself. It felt like crap. So I know what you're talking about. So there's something that's so beautiful when you really start to show up for yourself. It's this amazing, like, oh my God, I'm really proud of me. Like, oh my God, I love me. Like, oh my God, life feels good. I don't feel bogged down by food. Right. There's this lightness. Okay. So what will your life look like when you get this 50 pounds off?
I will have more energy to do things that I love, such as go hiking and do things like that, be in nature more. And I'll just have more energy to do things that I love.
Yeah. Okay. And what about what you would wear and how you would show up in the world?
I believe that I would be a lot more confident because I would be happy. I would like myself. And, I would like to say that I, need to work on that as I am. Because from listening to you and, listening to the things that you've done, that's what I get from you is like, be happy where you are and then you'll get where you want to be.
Yes.
And that's what I'm working on. So I truly appreciate being here. You have no idea. But so I think for me it would be I would feel comfortable in my clothes and I wouldn't fight with myself on what I was going to wear and try on 5 different things because I didn't like how it looked or how it fit. In the morning I would get up and put clothes on and be comfortable. And then I would be more confident. So I would show in the world way more confidence and love, and I would be able to spread love more, which is one of my purposes here.
Yeah. What is it you do?
Right now I do I do property management, I train dogs, and I'm a massage therapist.
Okay. So it sounds like you're really wanting to get dialed into on what your purpose is and showing and being in full alignment with that.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So my next question for you is, what would it mean for you if this doesn't happen and if you're still struggling a year from now?
I don't think that's going to happen. So I don't want to think like that because that's not going to happen.
Okay, good girl. I like it. So here's the thing. When we go back to that concept of sabotaging yourself and how you're getting in your own way, and you said autopilot. I want to change the belief system. What are those times of day and how often is autopilot happening for you?
Autopilot is typically it ranges. It's in the late afternoon to mid-evening, partially because either, changing my hat of which position I'm going to be in, going home to take care of things I need to take care of and get to another place. So I do that often. But I can tell you that from the past few weeks of being connected with you and into you that I have changed those things. And just in 2 weeks, I've noticed that I feel freer because I do that less often. So thank you.
Oh my God, girl, we got to celebrate you. That's huge. So what have you been changing?
I have changed of not feeling like I'm always in a rush. Like I just try to be present and, I'm not going to get any more or less time. So to use it appropriately and to not rush. And I've focused more on me instead of what I need to eat for food so that piece is is better. And I just feel freer. I feel like I have more control of myself instead of food controlling me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what I teach. So I'm your testament of how it works and how quickly it works. Because people always say to me, how long will it take to see results? I'm like, you just have to stay consistent. So in what ways, so you're here because you were saying, I want to stop watering the seed that isn't working. So you're taking on the coaching that you've learned from the group so far, right? And what we've been doing and what I've been sharing.
Correct.
I want you to do more of what's been working. I want you to get clear and start to write down what is working for you. You are creating your own roadmap to success, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to get clear on what that is. What are the things that are helping you right now so that you can continue to do them?
Right. And I do think that you saying, you need to write this. And when you did, I can't remember what it was called, but you did webinars for like 4 weeks in a row. And as I watched them, I would take notes. And it is so incredibly powerful to write, like pen to paper, which I don't do very often. So I appreciate you telling me to like write, because I do feel like that makes a big difference. And, I can take 10 minutes out of my day to sit down and write what I want. And, so thank you for saying that, because I haven't really done that piece. So thank you.
I'm so glad. Writing, guys, writing is one of the most powerful things you can do. That's why on my webinars, I don't do a lot of slides, because I like people to take notes, because it works, it registers. Even if you don't necessarily go back and reread them, the actual act of putting a pen to paper and having to write down things that are really speaking to you, it registers in your brain. It makes a big difference. And it also keeps you as an active participant instead of just having me on in the background, because you've got to catch something I'm going to say. And that, again, keeps you present and in the moment. I always have reasons for why I do the things that I do. And being a hypnotherapist, there's a lot of mindset things that I throw in that people don't know about, but that's another one. So I'm really glad that you noticed the difference. And what I want to encourage you to do is, Jana, if you know that putting a pen to paper is powerful to you, then start journaling, start doing more of that. Start expressing yourself, start getting out your negative thoughts out of your head and get them onto paper, and then write a positive to counter them, right?
Oh, yep, that's good. Yeah.
In that space, because if you're saying that you're watering, a seed, in your words, that isn't working, that like you want to keep watering, then you've got to change the way you've been doing it. And that's what you're doing, right? That's why you were the second person that reached out to me, and I was like, I'll take two, and here they are. And you hopped on that right away. And so that always tells me a person is ready for change. They're taking this seriously, and they're in alignment with wanting to shift their self-worth. So what I want you to notice when you're on autopilot, you want to get clear on why you're doing that. A big thing that I'm getting from our conversation is that I want you to get more clear on the root of where this stuff began. I don't want you to live in your past, but get clear on that and get clear on why you're here, right? On like what your why is, which we already talked about.
Correct.
And what I also want you to do is recognize when you go on autopilot, ask yourself, what is going on for me that day? There are 4 questions. What's going on in my life right now? Is food going to solve the problem? Am I really hungry? And what can I do instead?
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to write as you're talking.
Yeah. So, what's going on in my life right now?
Right.
Am I really hungry? Is food going to solve this problem? Is it going to help it or hurt it? And what can I do instead? So the autopilot, guys, comes as a coping mechanism. And it comes when we truly don't want to deal with what is going on in life, and we want an escape.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Want an escape. That's when you're doing what you've taught yourself. So your autopilot started at a very young age. You started
Right.
with food. When you needed to cope, when you were told big boned, when you felt bad about yourself, you self-soothed with food.
Right.
And now as an adult, 30 years later, that now at 48, right? You've been coping with food for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Except food no longer, right? When you're a child, and even when you're in your 20s, you're like, oh, this is just a dieting phase, like a diet, nothing big. But now you're saying like, wow, this has become my way of life, and it's not fun, and it's painful, and it's actually stealing my life and stealing my joy instead of adding to it.
Right.
I don't want to do this anymore. But what you really have to understand is that is your coping mechanism. It is your survival skill set. We all get a skill for survival, right? We have different skill sets. Our mind is based off of survival. You've taught yourself that in moments of boredom, loneliness, exhaustion, right? Just frustration, disappointment, sadness, even happy times, celebratory times, you have always had food as your partner in crime.
Absolutely.
So you're going into autopilot because a part of you is like, oh yeah, no, this feels too much. What do we do when we feel this? Oh, we go to food. So I'm stressed right now. I need to get in front of the fridge. to gain some sense of control, because at least I can put food in my mouth and then I'm doing something.
Right.
And then I don't have to be thinking about all the things that actually feel uncomfortable or overwhelming for me in this moment, or I don't need to feel the pain of the loneliness, or I'm just bored. I think I'll eat, because why not? Or, wow,
Right.
I deserve this, right? So that's your coping mechanism. So right now, what we have to do is fill in your other life skills, your coping skills,
Right.
outside of food. So
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to do that in the moment of being on autopilot because you haven't strengthened that muscle yet. So you guys have heard me say this, and Aristotle says it, and I butcher his quote every time, but we can only take ourselves so far in life that we're able to go based off our current skill set. In order to strengthen that muscle, you have to keep taking the small steps and making the changes. And you have to keep celebrating those changes to solidify the change.
Right.
It's too easy to start off and going, I'm feeling really good. I'm starting to feel free. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And then something will happen in life. And then all of a sudden a week goes by and you're like, what was I doing then where I just felt so good? And it was seamless and effortless. And I was feeling really empowered. And now I'm back to where I was, right? So we stay consistent. And we have to do that. And this is why I'm always saying, get a coach, get a guide, do something with somebody that can take you in that space and give you that container of support. But, you know, and that's an opportunity for you. But also, I want you to think about how in those moments can I create a plan, like an out, for when I'm on autopilot. I need to have a list of activities and things that I can do. Have those 4 questions up on your fridge. Have them on your dashboard, because most of the time when we go into autopilot, guys, it's premeditated. You already are talking yourself into that binge before you're even out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that. And that's when the love for you starts to outweigh the need to binge, when you really start fostering more love for you. But you have to keep celebrating.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That does make complete sense.
Okay. So out of everything that we just talked about, what really resonated with you?
Just that I have to get clear.
Okay.
And dig into finding, you know, like you said, not dwelling in the past, but figuring it out so that I can change it.
Okay. And what else?
Let's see. It all did. But I think the biggest thing is that I just need clarity. And, you know, what you just said about celebrating makes complete sense. Of, you know, celebrate the victories. That makes sense. And I didn't really think about that, I guess. So that makes sense. You know, and having the questions available to avoid the action before it happens.
Yeah.
Is huge.
Okay. The main thing for you, first off, again, and then it's everything that we said, but then also what I really want you to do is write out, I want you to write out the things that are working for you.
Okay.
Like, you know, when we talked earlier and I said it's your own personal roadmap to success.
Correct.
Yeah, I want you to write out what are those things that you're doing right now that are really speaking to you.
Okay.
So you can keep adding to them. Then add those 4 questions and start to notice what puts you on the trajectory of a binge.
Okay.
Because if they're happening and that's something that you've been doing and you notice that, then you just want to get clear on what that is and why, and there's certain triggers that are happening for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And those triggers, by the way, Liv, they date back to triggers that you have from being a very young girl, right? The subconscious mind stops forming after the age of 8. So a lot of our triggers start happening before them, before then, and they really they're in our, like on a cellular level. We feel them and notice them. So I just want to tell you that so you can move beyond that and recognize it and then go, okay, that was a trigger. How can I shift my response in this moment to that trigger so I can start telling myself we have a new way of responding to X, Y, and Z.
Okay, that's good.
Does that make sense?
That makes yes, that's really good.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to go. Do you have any other questions while we're here?
I don't think so, but I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you. Truly. Thank you so very much.
I appreciate you too so much, girl. I really, really do. Thank you for coming on live. You're amazing. Thank you for being a part of this community. And thank you for sharing your story. I know that you're not alone and that this is extremely helpful for any women that are going through what you're going through and experiencing. And that's like all the women in the program or in the program in Done With Dieting. So, you know, you're not alone. And this was really brave of you and just very beautiful of you to share yourself in this way. And I love that you spoke up and said, I want support. And that's when change happens. And that's why you've seen changes and felt changes and experienced them in your life in 2 weeks of taking on the trainings, right? So go back and keep listening to those webinars. You know, come in Done With Dieting as often as you can. And, you know, just be in support with it, with the rest of the community and the other women there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Goodbye, girl. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye, guys. All right. I'm going to. So I'm going to take, I just want to take a moment, guys. If you are like Jana and you're listening to, you know, this call and you're sitting there and you're saying, you know, I really wish I had this opportunity. I want more support. I've been going at this alone and I'm exhausted and I'm frustrated and I don't want to do this anymore. I'm ready for real change and I'm ready to be done. And this year is not going to be, I'm not going to repeat another year of this. I want my life back. Then Weight Loss for Life is the place to go. So there is an application here. It is a no-cost application. And if it looks like it's the right fit, then my team reaches out to you and sets up time for a call. But in order to actually apply to the program, we have to receive your application. So I'm going to put that in here. I just really want you to know that how much I appreciate every one of you, and you all deserve the opportunity to truly be done. And that's why I created this program. And that is why I do the work that I do. And so I absolutely love you all. We have a few spots left and we will be closing out the program soon. So if this is you and you are ready, then I strongly encourage you to apply today. The other thing that I want to tell you is, if you're seeing here and you just heard firsthand from Jana, I did not tell her to say any of that she's just been following me and what I've been sharing in the past few weeks and has been reaping the benefits. So it doesn't take long to see or feel results or to have things shift for you. But in order to do that, you have to start showing up for you. And it's about saying, yes, my method works. It does. And it's not hard and it's not scary. And it's not, well, it can be scary in the sense that you're doing things that you've never done, but they're things that actually feel a hell of a lot better than living the way that you've been living. Because nothing is more painful than living a life dieting and never feeling like you're achieving anything. Really hear that. It's painful, it's exhausting, and it's actually a life-sucking experience. And you're not really present. So I want to encourage you guys, like I said, if this is something that you want to do, please, apply today. I would absolutely love to support you. The women in the program are like freaking rock stars. I just sit there. I was praying last night. I was like, man, you sent me good peeps. You know, I was like, hey, Sus, what's up? That's me. Again, I do not push religion on anybody. This is just my thing. But the women in the program are just incredible. I feel so blessed and fortunate, and they're rock stars. And I know I have an exact vision, knowing where each one of them is going. And I hold them to that. And so does, you know, so do the coaches in our program. So you need to have support to make this happen. You just do. I mean, it took me 10 years on my own, and it was a hard, long road. And so that's why I do what I do now, so that other women don't have to suffer and struggle. And that's really what it is. When you're dieting, you're suffering. It's constant suffering, and it's painful, and we don't even realize how bad it is until we actually get to that breaking point. And when we move to the other side, it's like, oh my God, I did that for that long. Why? You know, and there's nothing more beautiful than getting your life back for the first time in what for many is a lifetime. So it's time to live your best life, right, for the rest of your life. And that can start for you today. That's my invitation to you. I hope that you will apply. I absolutely loved being with you today. And I want to thank you so much for being here. Let me know if you enjoyed this Coachathon and if you want more of these. And if you have any questions for me, please email support@melissacatherine.com. I appreciate you. I adore you. And I'm just honored to be your guide in this journey to being done with dieting. I just feel absolutely honored. So much love to you, and happy Thursday. Bye, guys.